Getting closer and closer to the election, 16 days to go. And there really is a sense of excitement and urgency in the air. That sense of urgency has been made all the more poignant by the Hunter Biden story. And after the incredible revelations, we're now starting to see new polls revealing the impact that it's had on the voters. This is what we're going to be looking at today. If we were to summarize it, it's had a massive impact. We think it will continue to have an impact as time goes on. Let's make no mistake, this appears to have been a game changer. It's political. My name is Connor Allen, and I'm here with Ryan Smith.
Hello, everyone.
And before we begin, please do subscribe. As always, we're seeing so much support recently. We're seeing a huge climb in our subscribers. So welcome to the channel if you are a new subscriber. If not, please do consider subscribing. Leave a like if you do like the comment. And who doesn't love a good polling video? And leave us a comment too. Tell us what you think. We always reply to all the comments, so we really want to hear your opinion. And with no further ado, we're going to move ahead into the polls now.
Yeah, so this is a new IPD-TIPP poll. These guys, actually one of the few pollsters that predicted Trump winning 4 years ago. But having said that, listen, we know a lot of these polls are biased and underrepresent the Trump vote, whether that's intentional or unintentional, I don't know. But it seems that's clearly what's happening when you just look at all of the other indicators, like, Republican registration numbers and, just even like, the number of yard signs that people have in support for Trump. So, listen, we know that, but what the polls still are reasonable at showing us are trends. And when one of the candidates is gaining or losing ground, just as obviously Trump, lost some support when he went into hospital, as you would expect, right, for a guy that's suffering from a potentially very serious illness, and affects people differently. And obviously, he's 74, so people were hesitant to support someone who could become seriously ill, but he's obviously very quickly gained that support again now, and we've seen that. So they do show trends, even if the overall lead that they show or representation of the Trump vote that they show isn't necessarily accurate, right? And the latest poll has shown, this is basically the first poll I found that's has the field work done after the Hunter Biden broke, and this is what they had to say. So Joe Biden's lead over Donald Trump has narrowed as Republican voters decide to stick with the president, and Democrats' support has fallen below 50%. The latest update shows the Democratic challenger leading the Republican incumbent by 5.2 points, 48.7 to 43.5 in a four-way presidential poll of likely voters. Since the IPD-TIPP 2020 presidential election tracking poll launched on Monday, October the 12th, Biden's support has dipped from 51.9 to 48.7. So that's basically the headline number. Trump's numbers have been relatively stationary, but he has now reached a new high watermark with 43.5% of the support. And this is key as well. Support for third party and other candidates has climbed, as has the share of undecided voters. Meanwhile, more voters are declining to say whom they support. So, the top line of this, I think, is Biden's support has fallen quite considerably in the space of a day as well. From over 50 to 48.7. I think that shows clearly, and I assume you agree, that this Hunter Biden story has been very damaging to him.
Yeah, I mean, to cause a 2-3 point swing in a single day, and bear in mind, more and more things have started to come out. On the first day of the story, people didn't really appreciate the magnanimity or the magnitude of the story. Then we've seen today that the allegations have expanded to include China in the number of countries that he's allegedly received money from as well. Who knows what tomorrow will bring? who knows the effect that the Twitter ban on even mentioning it's going to have? Because people took such an interest after that, didn't they? All the indicators point to the fact that this is going to have an effect until the end of the election. And one way I see this, I see a lot of non-stories being reported too. So, for example, Kamala Harris putting it in the things because she has coronavirus. I've worked in political campaigns. That's the sort of story you release to detract from another more damaging story, right? It's a non-story, but it'll grab a headline.
Yeah.
When I'm seeing the Democratic Party release this kind of smokescreen, I start to get very excited about what's going to happen.
Yeah, I was just going to say as well, obviously, Kamala Harris doesn't have coronavirus, which I think you said by accident, but obviously one of her aides does. And it gives her a good excuse gives her a good excuse to just kind of hide away, take a leaf from Biden's book and head off to the basement. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. All of the signs and the indicators now are showing a trend towards Trump. And this poll, even if you don't believe, or you do believe the headline figure of 5.2 points, still Biden in the head by that amount, it's clear that he's lost support. And you have to as well bear in mind that the field work of this is over 4 days. So 2 of those days actually happened before the Hunter Biden story broke, which indicates to me that the amount of support he's lost could be even more significant. But we won't see that until there is a poll that's been done with the fieldwork done exclusively after the story broke, and maybe even a couple of days beyond that as well, because presumably a lot of people wouldn't have even seen it in the first day because of all the suppression. But certainly they are seeing it now because of, obviously, we talked about that before, the Streisand effect and how that does bring more attention to it.
See, and the conservative community has been so important in getting that message out there, and they still have a role to play. But I mean, we have 16 days before the election. This is going to dominate the media for the next 16 days, and it's going to have a more and more pronounced effect. And we still have that debate to come, don't we? This last debate, because the town halls, okay, it wasn't so good on the Democratic part. They didn't mention it at all. They asked very tame questions, as Sleepy Joe likes. But that debate, Trump is going to hammer Joe Biden over this.
Yeah, Trump will use that debate as much as he possibly can to bring attention to this, bring attention to the people that didn't know about this story. Bring it up, and just that platform, the huge platform that he has, and the fact that the second debate was cancelled, right? I think makes this third debate even more important. Like, it just brings more attention towards it. People are really going to want to see this. People are really going to want to see Joe Biden have to answer questions from Trump over these allegations, and that could just be a moment, a catalyst really, for a lot of the American people who are sort of living maybe inadvertently in echo chambers, suddenly going to be opened up to all this information, and you'd like to think they're going to go out there and dig a little bit deeper and have a read for themselves and make up their own opinion instead of having social media make it up for them.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, incredible numbers. I'm super excited now.
Yeah, and I just as well, just a final point. What's interesting is just a last sentence there that I read out. The support for third-party candidates has climbed. So whether that's people going to the Green Party or Libertarian Party, I don't know. Obviously, their numbers are so small, it's kind of hard to determine anyway because of the margin of error. But it seems to me that this is a case of Biden losing support, people maybe going to the Green Party, maybe going to the Libertarian Party, maybe it's conservatives that don't like Trump who are then going, well, I'm going to vote Libertarian instead. But even more interestingly, more people, they're saying, are now declining to say who they support. That indicates to me that a lot of people maybe that were Biden supporters have now switched over to Trump and obviously are going to be reluctant to say so, presumably a lot of their family members are Biden supporters themselves, or they live in a Democratic area, right?
And we live in a society where you can get fired for expressing support for President Trump. So of course, the more neutral voters or undecided voters, let's say they have a larger likelihood to vote for Donald Trump. But this just plays into the thing. We've seen this since the primaries, haven't we? Because the left don't want Joe Biden. This election campaign has been all about Joe Biden trying to unite the Democratic Party, get those Sanders voters on board, get those wavering left-wing voters on board, and bring them together with centrist voters who don't like Donald Trump, right?
Yeah.
So scandals like this just absolutely nuke all of the effort they put into that. Because guess what? Hold Trump and Biden up together. Who's the corrupt capitalist?
Yeah.
Not Donald Trump. It's not the billionaire. It's
Yeah.
Joe Biden, right?
It's hilarious.
It's incredible.
And we mentioned this in the last video, obviously. All of these allegations that have come out against Trump over the years, just one story after another, we're actually discovering that it's the Democrats that are doing this, right? Not wearing masks, Nancy Pelosi, trying to rig the election, trying to cheat, Ilhan Omar. Now we've got Joe Biden taking money from foreign interests, taking money from foreign nations and having special interests and being a national security risk, because it could well be that a foreign enemy has evidence or has information on him or his son that puts them at liability or could be very embarrassing for them. So quite hilarious how these things seem to keep turning back on the Democrats. And as you said,
I feel bad for them.
It's projection, isn't it? Textbook projection.
I feel bad for them, because can you imagine being a Democrat staffer for the last 4 years, and you've worked so hard to build up this narrative, right? And you've been calling up CNN every day, all the mainstream media, you've been feeding them the lines, and then in the last 2 months, Democratic Party politicians have just made it all for nothing, because no one remembers that anymore. What they are remembering are these incredible Democrat misbehaviors. That's what we're seeing in the polls.
Yeah, absolutely. I really can't wait. I can't wait to see what comes out in the next couple of days, because not just from the New York Post or whoever it is that posts on this Hunter Biden story, but just how it affects the poll, because we still not really seen one that has all the field work. So listen, we're going to give you an update on that as and when those new polls do come out. Expecting certainly some more on Monday, and those are probably going to be the best indicators to see exactly how damaging that has been. So we're probably going to do another video of that on maybe a Monday or Tuesday, showing if there has been further trend and further swing towards Trump. So please do subscribe and stay tuned if you want to see that. And as always, thank you everyone for watching.